My documentary is based on binge drinking, and in particular binge drinking in young people and the effects it can have on their health. For this reason, our primary audience was young people, for example students between the ages of 16 to 25. However, overall we did want to reach a wider target audience, so for this reason our secondary audience were parents. These parents may want to know the risks their children are putting themselves at by binge drinking and by going out. After showing both my primary audience and secondary audience my documentary, I gained a great deal of useful feedback. This is our primary target audience, and this is an example of our secondary target audience. Firstly, with the primary target audience, I carried out a focus group where I asked them questions after they'd watched our documentary on their opinions. I also handed out a questionnaire to 20 people asking them their opinions on our documentary. The focus group was mainly girl based, but our documentary is for both genders, so that is why I also handed out a questionnaire, because that went out to both male and females. As a group, one of our main aims was to ensure our documentary was educational and informative on what binge drinking actually is and the effects it can have in relation to health in young people. We did this through including a number of different facts. We conveyed these facts through voiceovers, and we also had them appear on the screen. So we wanted to know if our audience did find our documentary informative. From the feedback gathered from the questionnaires, I concluded that 15 out of the 20 people who watched and carried out the questionnaire did find our documentary informative. This is also supported by the focus group.
I found it informative when the documentary said about the units in the alcohol. I thought that was very informative.
And it explained the long-term effects of alcohol.
Members of the focus group said they found the documentary informative because it included information of units in drink and the guidelines for their gender and what drink equivalates to that unit. As just mentioned, we wanted our documentary to be educational. I was therefore really pleased when, from my primary audience carrying out the questionnaire, 12 of them said that they had learned something from our documentary. Even our secondary audience, who are adults, said that they learned facts about binge drinking.
During the expert interview, which featured the media teacher Nick Waring, I learned that some universities had actually been promoting alcohol-free nights.
This emphasised to me that our primary audience understood our preferred reading, which was not to promote binge drinking in any way, but highlight the risks it can have, for example, the health risks and implications it can have. However, the secondary audience had more of a negotiated reading, as they felt the opening clips, which began the documentary, could be seen as promoting binge drinking, as you see people out in clubs dancing, they're having a good time, and it kind of promotes the lifestyle of going out and drinking. However, they did agree that our facts did highlight the risks that binge drinking can have. Speaking of our opening scenes, we received extremely positive feedback on the opening scene of the documentary. 18 out of the 20 people asked said they enjoyed the opening of the documentary, and 3 people said it was their favourite part of the whole documentary. Both the focus group and our secondary audience also gave really positive feedback on the opening sequence.
I liked it when they use realistic footage of like them clubbing and doing all the party stuff.
I liked how different it was.
Very entertaining.
I really enjoyed the opening sequence. It was visually appealing and slightly humorous, but at first I thought it was going to be a programme promoting drinking, because that was the impression the opening sequence gave me.
I was really pleased with the feedback I received on the opening sequence, because the opening sequence of a documentary is one of the most important elements, because it's what attracts the viewer and intrigues them and encourages them to keep watching if they've been drawn in straight away by it. Our questionnaire further supports the fact that the opening to our documentary was strong, because all 20 people who carried out the questionnaire said they would continue watching the remaining 40 minutes of our documentary. Although we received a great deal of positive feedback, we also did have some constructive criticism that was given to us that we found really useful to help improve our documentary. Here are some screenshots of feedback gathered from the questionnaires of some improvements we were given by our primary audience. Sound quality is a really important part of a documentary, and from carrying out these focus group and questionnaires, we learned that both our primary audience and secondary audience felt that our sound levels were not good enough and let our documentary down quite a bit. 14 people said that they did not think the sound quality was good. A few of the reasons given were they felt towards the end of the documentary it went extremely quiet and the vox pops background noise was disruptive. I also learned that people were not impressed with the sound quality through one of the questionnaire questions, which was, are the vox pops good sound quality? And many people said no, as you can see from the pie chart now shown on screen. From then carrying out the focus group, I then further understood that the reason people felt the sound quality was bad for the vox pops was because of the background noise, and at times there was varying sound levels. I think this was due to them being filmed at different times. The canteen was busy at different times as we were filming in college, and depending on how far away the camera was, because we were limited with space because we were filming in such a busy area of the college canteen.
The background noise for the vox pops was a bit too noisy at some points.
Yeah, and some of the sound levels dipped in some of the areas at the end.
Sound quality lets the documentary down, and sometimes it's really clear, but at other times it's less clear to hear.
Overall, they said that the sound kept varying and was not consistent throughout. I was really disappointed with this result, as my group and I did a lot of work to try make our sound quality as good as possible. For example, we'd originally filmed one of our expert interviews and the mic at the time we hadn't realised wasn't working, and when we came to export it, compared to the rest of the footage, the clip was really quiet, so we went out of our way and refilmed it to try and improve our sound quality, but it's clearly still not good enough, so we are going to go back and do everything we can to improve that. We wanted to ensure all the information and the footage we had included in our documentary was relevant. For this reason, we asked questions in our questionnaire such as, do you think the background music fits the style and genre of the documentary? Are the visual cutaways interesting and informative, and did you find the interviews interesting? Here are the results we gathered.
I like the cutaway shot of pouring one Jaeger bomb as it fits with the theme of the documentary of binge drinking.
The music fits the documentary well. It is upbeat, so made the documentary easy to watch, and it was energetic.
I was not surprised about the results from the music, because I thought it'd be extremely fitting for our primary audience, because the music was of a club genre, so it fitted with the binge drinking theme because it's the type of music that is played when you're out drinking, and it's also the type of music that appeals to the primary audience. However, I was surprised when I found that our secondary audience also enjoyed the music, because I didn't think it was something they would like personally. It's quite modern, but they felt it was fitting. Some contrasting views between the primary audience and the secondary audience were the primary audience liked the informal language used in the voiceover for the documentary. However, the secondary audience did not particularly like it. I found out this information through my focus group and then from talking to the secondary audience.
I found the voiceovers were like more informal, and it allowed me to like connect with the documentary
Made it more personal.
I did not really like the informal language and at times relaxed tone of the narrator because I felt it contrasted with the footage which was being shown on the screen. This footage was formal because it included slides of facts and a serious advert on health risks.
We chose to use informal language because all in all we wanted the style and the feel of our documentary to be informal, because we thought this would appeal to our primary target audience more, as if it was too serious they may switch off and not find it entertaining, so won't actually listen or engage with the facts. Also, if we used formal language they may have found it patronising. From research we'd previously done through a first questionnaire we handed out to find out what people knew about binge drinking, our target audience, the primary target audience, did say they'd rather have a documentary which is informal. So we're really happy to find out and get results back now that they found it informal, because it means we've given them what they wanted. When our primary audience was watching our documentary, we got the impression that they did find it informal and more relaxed, because they were laughing at parts. For example, the opening sequence of the videos of people out clubbing they were laughing at, and also the bartender they found quite humorous just due to the way he spoke. To reflect over my documentary and the feedback I've received, I was overall really happy with the feedback because people seemed to enjoy the documentary. From learning about the audience's opinion on our sound levels, we were then able to go back and make improvements to these sound levels, and that was all due to the audience feedback we received. We are now aware of the issues in the sound level so we could improve them. Moving on to the radio trailer. We created a radio trailer in order to help advertise our documentary. The radio trailer was around 28 seconds long, and we wanted to know if our primary audience thought this length was appropriate, because from our research we'd found that other existing radio trailers tended to be around 35 to 40 seconds, so ours was a little bit shorter. However, this did not seem to matter too much, because 11 out of the 20 people asked said they didn't feel it was too short. In fact, they liked the length because it was short and snappy and provided them with the details they needed to know and didn't drag on. The whole point of the radio trailer was to promote and advertise the documentary, so we needed to link it back to the documentary. We did this by including vox pops and expert interviews, and also the same music that we'd used in the documentary. We asked in the questionnaire whether they thought we linked back to the documentary effectively and everything we'd included in the radio trailer was relevant. All 20 people said yes, we had effectively linked back to the documentary. We were really pleased with this, as it meant we met the aims of our task, which was to advertise. When asked in more detail about the vox pops and expert interviews included and whether they felt the snippets we'd taken from the documentary were appropriate, 18 people said yes, they were appropriate, but 2 people said no. We asked these people why, and they said they felt the expert interviews were boring and kind of ruined the energetic feel to the trailer, because the voices of the people in the expert interviews were serious, as they were talking about serious issues like heart disease and stuff like that. So that was the only criticism we received on that section. We showed a number of members of our primary audience our listing magazine and the double page spread that we had created, again, which is to advertise the documentary. They told us that they found the magazine boring and it was not something they wanted to read. However, they did say the main image was relevant to our general topic of binge drinking, because it was a picture of someone out intoxicated looking drunk. And they also liked in particular how on the left hand side of the magazine we'd actually included the logo of where the documentary was going to be aired, because it meant even if they didn't read the whole documentary, they knew, even if they didn't read the whole article, they knew what channel they could find it on if they wanted to. So all in all, we received positive feedback from our 3 tasks, but also were provided with useful improvements. This is why I think getting audience feedback is really important, because it has helped us greatly improve our work, but has also given us the confidence that our work meets our criteria and meets the objectives that we wanted it to do. This was my question 3 and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.